All right, let's jump right into it. Today, we are unpacking a deeply philosophical, honestly incredibly thought-provoking piece of work titled Grafts and Grants, written by Oluyemi Ola David. Now, this isn't your standard dry policy document. Instead, it's a total masterclass in using structured, poetic contemplation to reveal these massive, undeniable truths about leadership, personal responsibility, and how we actually shape the world around us. So get comfortable and let's explore how a few carefully chosen words can completely shift our perspective on cause and effect.
Like shepherd, like pasture. You know, have you ever noticed how a team inevitably takes on the exact personality of its manager? Or how a community ultimately reflects the values of its leaders? This simple phrase hooks us immediately because it poses such a powerful rhetorical question. I mean, can a pasture ever truly be healthy if the shepherd is neglectful? The answer, of course, is no way. Right out of the gate, we're being asked to confront the undeniable ripple effect that leadership has on those being led. The condition of the domain is a direct, literal reflection of the one who tends it.
Now, before we go any deeper, we really need to talk about the mind behind these words, Oluyemi Ola David. It's absolutely crucial to understand who she is because her distinct voice and her presence are the very heartbeat of this entire contemplation. She isn't writing from some detached academic ivory tower. She is writing from a place of deep, personal conviction. Her words are incredibly intentional, and as we analyze her insights today, understanding her background is really the key to unlocking the true weight of her message.
Okay, let's dive into this beautifully complex perspective she brings to the table. As a proud Nigerian who explicitly states her deep love for people, she is highly concerned with global development and transformation, meaning she's got her eyes on the big, macro-level problems of the world. She actively generates solutions to influence high-level policy and strategy. But look at her fundamental anchor here. She states that she is guided by Father God, whom she beautifully describes as the wheel within my wheels. She seamlessly blends this sharp, strategic mind for global policy with a profound, foundational spiritual faith. Her love for humanity and her faith are the absolute bedrock of her worldview, and they completely inform how she approaches global transformation.
So let's see how this builds upon her opening thought. She pairs creators and leaders, the shepherd, the chef, the seer, with their resulting domains, the pasture, the feast, the palace. She's asking us to really digest this direct cause and effect relationship. If you want a spectacular feast, well, you can't separate that from the skill of the chef. If you want a secure palace, it totally relies on the vision of the seer. She is systematically proving to us that an environment is never an accident. It is the deliberate, undeniable output of the one in charge.
And this brilliantly illustrates the macro ripple effect of her philosophy. Notice how she expands her poetic logic, moving from intimate, sacred spaces like the temple and the home, straight outward to massive societal structures like the city and the nation. Like home, like nation. Think about the gravity of what she's saying there. If we want to fix a broken nation, she suggests we've got to first look at the health of the home. Like Prince, like people. The culture of the masses is fundamentally tied to the character of their leadership. She scales up her logic so effortlessly, proving that global transformation always starts at the most intimate levels of society.
I actually want to pause our narrative right here and just let this standalone truth sink in for a second. Like principle, like practice. What is she really trying to tell us here? She's talking about the absolute, unbreakable alignment between what we internally believe and how we externally act. You simply cannot have corrupt principles and expect ethical practices. It's a mirror she's holding up to our own integrity. If a policy fails in practice, she is actively challenging us to look backward and examine the underlying principle it was built upon in the first place. Now, what's really interesting is how she transitions into these foundational metaphors drawn straight from nature: tree and fruit, root and branch, keeper and gate. By rooting her ideas in the natural world, she makes her argument basically indisputable. You literally can't plant a bad root and expect a healthy branch to grow. It's biologically impossible. And she takes this intimate natural law and applies it to the inevitable outcomes of our own lives and leadership. As the keeper goes, so goes the security of the gate. She just keeps bringing us back to this one fundamental truth. Origins always dictate outcomes.
So the crucial point is captured right here. Like thought, like life. This is the ultimate micro-philosophy of her entire piece. Everything we've discussed so far, from the nation to the palace to the feast, ultimately traces back to the thoughts occurring inside a single human mind. I mean, how often do we try to change our lives without changing our underlying thoughts? Her words challenge us directly and powerfully to examine our own internal mindset, because if our thoughts are chaotic, our life is going to be chaotic. She places the ultimate responsibility for the world we experience squarely inside our own heads. Now let's shift gears a bit, because Oluyomi Oladevid isn't just writing beautiful poetry to be read in a vacuum. Her work directly aligns with the United Nations Sustainable Development Goal 16, which is totally focused on promoting peace, justice, and strong institutions. Suddenly, her abstract poetry pivots into a very real-world, authoritative focus on global development. She's telling us that all of these principles, cause and effect, healthy roots, clear thoughts, are the exact prerequisites for achieving global peace and justice. You just cannot build strong institutions without strong principles. She brilliantly bridges the gap between deep contemplation and actionable global policy.
As she starts drawing her contemplation toward a close, she introduces this incredibly powerful mantra: gratitude blames no one. Think about how this connects back to her focus on strong institutions and peace. Blame is the absolute enemy of progress. Blame looks backward, while gratitude looks forward. She seamlessly connects a highly personal internal stance of gratitude to her broader goals of policy and global transformation. When we operate from a place of gratitude, we stop searching for scapegoats. We stop tearing down our communities. Instead, we take ownership and we start building.
And she pushes that concept of ownership even further with this statement: majority of one blames no one. Wow, this is incredibly empowering. She is guiding us to understand that you do not need a crowd to make a difference, and you certainly don't need a crowd to take responsibility. She is flatly rejecting a victim mentality. By calling you a majority of one, she's insisting that your individual agency is powerful enough to enact real change. When you realize your own power, you stop blaming others and you start taking personal responsibility for your own pasture.
Which brings us to a truly provocative thought drawn directly from her text. She uses this striking phrase, asking us to wail mercy over mess. So the big question for you is, how will you wail mercy over the mess in your own sphere of influence? Instead of just complaining about the state of the world, how will you take Oluyomi Oladevid's profound insights and actively apply them to your own community, your own home, your own thoughts? Remember, like shepherd, like pasture. What kind of pasture are you creating today? Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Now go out there and examine your roots.